Hello everybody, welcome to Drawing with Waffles. Today I am drawing the miraculous ladybug. And hopefully, well, my dog's eating over there in the corner of the room very, very loudly, and hopefully you can't hear that. So if you hear something that sounds like a demon devouring souls from the underworld, it's my dog. Anyway, I decided to leave in my first couple attempts at drawing the miraculous ladybug. So if you see this is like the third attempt, I think, now, where I sort of drew her on her back, and I was going to like have her legs kick in. And I scrapped that one really quickly. That wasn't really something it just wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. And then here, we're just staring at the blank screen, and here comes another attempt. This actually ends up being the final, spoiler alert. I was like, why don't I have her throw in her Lucky Charm? I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's a little like yo-yo that like the Lucky Charm pops out of, that thing. That's what I'm drawing. So she's like throwing it towards the like camera. If the camera was taking a picture, she'd be like throwing it straight at it. And I thought, oh, I haven't tried like foreshortening in like forever, probably over a year, so this would be a good idea. So let's go with it. It might be a little tricky, but I think we can come up with something pretty nice if I really, really try. And it did take a little bit more effort than like just drawing a girl standing there would have, for me at least. So what I did was, actually, this is the second sketch layer, and you know I always use my second sketch layer, but it just wasn't where I wanted it to be, so I ended up making a third sketch layer this time, which is crazy. Whoa, so much more sketches. That's like 1/3 more sketches, but it's cool. I think I start pretty soon because it was mostly the head and the foreshortened arm that I didn't really like, so that was mostly the reason I did a third sketch layer. This isn't sped up as fast as I thought I had done, but here it is, the third sketch layer. And I'm just drawing her face now, and I decided to give her a little cheeky smile, like she's like, That's not a description, is it? But that's what I'm drawing. Okay. And then I have her other arm going into the back. I do change that later. I don't know when I do, but I make that arm, not the arm that's being foreshortened forward, but the one in the back, I actually shorten it even more so it looks like it's going farther back and more straight instead of just sort of out there. I thought it was a little bit, I don't know if the word's boring, but it just felt stiff. Stiff, that's the word. It felt stiff, so I didn't like it, so I bent it a little bit more back. This is just her legs, and I had a lot of trouble with that shoulder that's being like pushed up in front of her cheek. When I finished it, I realized you need to like think more about like the silhouette of the character when you're drawing someone like this, and so I probably should have put the shoulder down. Ow, just rammed it into the desk. Should have put the shoulder down and made the arm a little bit more maybe to the left. That way it would have created a better of a silhouette of just the character. But here I'm just drawing on some spots because I wanted to know what it would look like. She has one of the most gaudy superhero costumes I've ever seen, and I still love it. Like, I would not be caught dead wearing this, but she looks so adorable. Oh, she's so cute, but that outfit's not for me. But it was really fun to draw, so I really like drawing things that have very few colors. And, I mean, her outfit is just red and black, so that quickens the pace for coloring. I only have to drop in a few colors. Here I am actually working on the, I don't remember what I call it, the yo-yo, her yo-yo. I realized I'm going to put this way up in front of the camera. The camera's going to be focused on her, and I want this to be up in the front. And since I'm going to blur it, I know from experience that I don't want to put line art on something I'm going to blur. It makes it look real muddy. That's the word. It just looks so muddy if you put line art on something that you're about to blur. So what I did was I just took shapes and like selection tools, like the circular selection tool, drew a circle, filled it in with red, put another circle on top of that, added a little bit of a gradient, put on some more circles to be the spots. So I just did it very simple, very quick, and then I added a couple motion blur effects. One was just like a normal blur, I think. One was like a radial blur, and then one was a motion blur. And I just added a bunch of those until I was kind of satisfied with it. It wasn't something I have a lot of experience with, so I mean, it's not something like I'm super pleased with, but I think it turned out well for what I needed it to look like. And then I am just doing the line art for her eyes and her nose and her cheek. This video is going to be longer than normal, I can already tell. I'm having so much time to say everything I want to say. So let me know if you like this, where it's slower and I can like talk more about my process and like I don't have to rush and then talk about something and then what I wanted to talk about was already 10 minutes ago. So that would work. Well, not 10 minutes. The videos are only 10 minutes, but whatever. We're going to keep continuing. We're doing the hair right now. With the hair, Oh, and the eyelashes. So for this drawing, I made sure I put the hair on a separate layer, and that has to do with when I color the line art, I want to be able to color it separately. And I've noticed, shh, doggy, wait. And I've noticed that like, if I put the line art on its own layer, then I can just color the line art layer with like one fell swoop, whereas if I have the line art on the same layer as the rest of the body, then when I go to color the line art of the hair, I have to be very particular and make sure I don't get any of the skin or any of the mask or any of the ears, and I just want the hair. So I find it just so much easier to just give the line art of the hair its own layer, and it's not even something that takes any more effort. It has a lot more to do with the remembering to do it, not just the I don't want to do that right now. It's just I have to remember. If I could remember, I would do it more often, and it's actually a very cool tip. So try that out next time you're doing line art on the hair. Yeah. Just this hand, I don't know if I really want you to pay particular attention to it. It's not something I'm very proud of. It just looks like a Play-Doh hand, but I mean it still looks like a hand. The word hand was still in the description, so I can't complain that much. Play-Doh hand, yeah. But I'm coloring right now, and I just filled in the whole bodysuit with just red, and then what I did was I took more like a purple, less saturated red, and I used the radial gradient tool, and I just added that anywhere that I thought it was going to be darker. This is the same thing I did with my Supergirl drawing. I'll leave a link to somewhere to that if you want to check that out. But I just used the radial gradient and put it anywhere I thought it would be darker, and then I also added a little bit of blue. Since her hair's blue, I thought maybe like the light would be reflecting off the hair and onto the bodysuit. So I added a few radial gradients of blue on there too. And then I just took a regular round brush with the opacity, pressure sensitivity turned on, and I just added more shading anywhere that it needed. And then for the polka dots, I just drew them on, and I think I set the layer to multiply because it wasn't quite the right color, and then I adjusted the opacity a little bit just to get it the way I wanted it, and once I had it the color I wanted, it was pretty good. With the hair, I did the exact same thing, so I just did radial gradients anywhere I thought it would be darker, added a little bit of red, except with the bodysuit it was blue, so with the hair I added a little bit of red around the ribbon, because light, I don't know, just trying something new. And then I added extra little strands of hair. What's up there? Random little hairs just going all over the place in a brighter turquoisey color, just to add a little bit more color interest to her hair. Here I am doing the eyes, and I had a little bit of trouble with the eyes. I think where I went wrong was when I did the line art, I actually colored in the eyeball. Was it the iris? Yeah, the colored part of the eye. I accidentally colored that in with the line art color, so I had to just go over it a little bit more and adjust it. So it just took a little bit extra time. Just a little. It's not a big deal. Then I'm doing her face and her nose, just shading that in. I don't know what I just said. And I actually added some color to the line art because I thought it was a little bit too muddy and dark. So I just adjusted the color of the line art around the face. Here I'm just adding a little bit of a reflective something to her suit. Because I thought her suit just seemed a little too black. So I wanted to add a little bit more color to that because it was just too red and black. And then I added in her, what is it called? The yo-yo. And then I decided, she's in France, I'm going to draw the Eiffel Tower. That was the only thought process behind this. And so I did, and then I was looking at pictures of the Eiffel Tower, and it's got these, long bush trees that, go along this, park area. So I tried to add a little bit of, shadows of that, so it's, that's where she's standing. And then I added a little bit more light behind the Eiffel Tower because it wasn't standing out enough. And I changed that color to green because it looked really good with the blue, and I thought it looked really good with the red too. So I just added a little bit of that, just subtle hints of it. I tried to add her, the sides of her were lit up, she was backlit with the green, but I didn't really like it, so I got rid of that. And then I actually lightened up the green a little bit because it was too harsh, and now I am just trying to keep up with the video. It's going too fast. And then I added a rope coming off of her hand with the yo-yo, and I added a little bit of a motion blur to that. And I tried to add a little bit more green shine to the Lucky Charm because I wanted it to be more incorporated with the background. Yeah, I think I'm just about done. I added a few little buildings behind the Eiffel Tower, added a little bit more depth to it, tried to add some shading to the bushy things. I guess they're more like trees because those are huge. And yeah, that was it. So here's the finished illustration of the Miraculous Ladybug. Let me know if you watch the show, if you like it, and I don't know what I was going to say. Yeah, if you like her, and let me know what you'd like to see in the future in terms of things I should draw. Should I draw Cat Noir? Maybe I should try. Hey, it's only got like 2 colors in that drawing, so that would be a fun one for me to practice my shading, because I don't have to worry about switching between colors. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all next week. Have a delicious evening from the waffles! Bye!